Howdy, howdy, howdy. What's up? Get your chat going. So, we are here today to talk about when your script is a turkey. What? But because it is, I don't know, you might not be watching this on Thanksgiving week, but we are recording this on Thanksgiving week. So, we are talking about when your script is a turkey, celebrating Thanksgiving in the States, and really talking about like what it is to be grateful, what it is to have a script that's a turkey, and what do you do when you have that as a reader, when you get a script that you don't think is all that great. It's an old phrase. My mom used to use turkey a lot. Oh, you big turkey. Did you know, I think this is true, my dad used to say this, that, not that I doubt it, but my dad used to tell us so many stories, kind of big fish. I'm never quite sure which ones are true. That Ben Franklin wanted the turkey to be the national bird. I don't know if that's true. But anyway, so hey there, Dad, what's up? So today we are talking about, sorry, lots of weather happening here. We're talking about if your script is a turkey, meaning if you get a screenplay that you really just do not think is good, like what do you do about that? How do you maneuver around that? So we do have, hey Sally, what's up? We do have a handout I will share, and you can get this handout at hollywoodgatekeepers.net/free look. Yeah, /free look. And I think I have, this is where our handouts are. You do need to log in to see the handouts. And then that way, because that way we can track to see what people want and what people like and what the people click on. And by seeing that, we know what to talk about. So there is a method to our madness. So when you go there, you can get to this handout that I will share. And, or maybe not. Okay, hang on. I'm going to send that into it won't let me share. So I'm going to send that into support. Just took a screenshot, find out what's going on there. So I'll just walk you through it. It's not that big of a handout, but it has a turkey on it that's super cute. So go to Free Look to get that, hollywoodgatekeepers.net/free look. And you can see all kinds of things on there. So check that out when you get a chance. And when we are talking about whether or not you like a screenplay, we just have a few things that we want you to consider. So we're going to do some Thanksgiving punnery so that we can talk about when a script is a turkey. So the first thing to remember is that some people prefer ham. I'm just going to crack myself up all day. So, but the idea is that stories are subjective. And one of the ways that we point this out in all of our programs is for you to think of a movie that you hate, that everyone else loves. There are movies that you love that everybody else hates. You know, we call those guilty pleasures often, of like, oh, I just love this series. And a lot of people are like, what? But the funnier one to me is when there's a movie that everyone just thinks is amazing and you're like, what? And it's funny because my best friend and I, we tend to have like the same things. There's a couple, I mean, very few. And there's so many times, I can't even tell you how many times one of us will text the other one, have you seen? Because there's all this buzz around something and we're like, So yeah, she's actually, she's more critical than I am. So she's like, if I know that she thinks it's good, I'm like, okay, I'm not going nuts here. So it is really, balanced. But again, it's subjective. And we talk about, as she's a producer, we talk about how, it makes, it's good that everybody doesn't like, my mom used to say this too, like, it's a good thing that everybody doesn't like the same thing, right? We want as much variety as possible. So when you get a script that you really don't like, often, especially if it's written, if it's pretty solid, like the structure's pretty solid, you get it, like the screenplay comes across, but you just don't like it, then that means that's a good thing, actually. It means that it's just not meant for you. And so sometimes readers forget that, and they think that because they're trained as readers, that their opinion I almost said matters. It does matter for sure, but their opinion is the end all be all. And it's really not. I mean, that's the beauty of this whole business, is that, well, I think my favorite thing of the whole business is that it's for everyone. There's no one way to break in, and it's not, you can break in. There are things that you can do. So it is like, that's the beauty of it. And it's so amazing how it shifts and turns and morphs depending on what our culture is doing. And you get all these opportunities. And I just think it's really cool that way. But also, it's like, because the script doesn't resonate with you, means that it might resonate with someone else. And so if you come across a screenplay that you're like, especially if, and this is a really interesting one, is that if you like it, but you don't think it's good. I mean, I'm sorry, that you don't think it's good, but you just don't know why. Like you're like, it's got a lot of problems, but I can't even like put it into words. That it might be you. It might just be that it doesn't resonate for you, and that's okay. And so sometimes when this happens as a reader, you need to be honest with the person that you're reading the script for, if it's a producer or something, and say, hey, I don't know that I'm the best reader for this. They will so appreciate that you are being honest in that way, and say, sometimes I'll do that with sci-fi where I feel like there's a lot, I think it's confusing, but this is not my genre. And I know that genre can get really heady and confusing. And so I want to make sure that I'm not overthinking it, because I have a tendency to do that, and make sure that I give it its best shot. That is your job as a reader, is to give the screenplay its best shot. People want to find projects. It might not seem like it, but they do. Producers really do want to find projects. So it is like, yeah, there's definitely something for everyone. Hello, Joy. So, the other part of this is to respect the gobble. Is to respect the voice of the writer, right? Like if the voice doesn't resonate with you, that means that the screenplay maybe should be read by someone else. But also your job as a reader is to help that writer, if you're reading for a writer, find that voice. And if you're reading for a producer, you want to comment on that and say, like, these are the problems with this is why I don't think this voice is strong. And then you can kind of give the examples of why you're not thinking that the voice is working, whether it's that it's meandering, or everyone has speaks in the same way, or there's kind of common things that you see, and that's one of them, is that all the characters sound the same. You can give, if you're a writer, having your characters switch dialogue, and then it should be cringeful if you switch dialogue. The dialogue should not be able to be said by any character. So I mean, if you imagine, like, can you imagine Phoebe saying Chandler's lines? It would feel like Phoebe mocking Chandler, like that. You can kind of see, right? But it is like, you want to switch those around so you know whose line it is. And I've seen this countless times in live reads. That's why it's really good to have a live read of your screenplay, to hear it out loud, where an actor will say, I don't think this is my line. Like they'll know, they'll instinctively be like, because they can feel that their character wouldn't say that, especially if the line sounds like someone else. Then they'll just assume it's actually a typo and that they have the wrong character, which happens sometimes. They have the wrong character at the top, especially, which is another reason not to name all your characters with the same first letter and that kind of thing, because that just can create havoc. But it is like, they'll recognize if it's not their voice. And so your job as a reader is to help that writer find that voice and really like get it across, that there is a hidden gem in there, which that's what we're about to get to, and that how can you help them strengthen their voice to get that hidden gem across. Now, sometimes when a writer has a voice, you want your voice to also be reflected in your descriptions. But if for any reason those descriptions are making you picture the writer at their desk, then the descriptions are not serving the story, they're serving the writer. And so or serving the audience, or serving the producers, or whatever. We see people walking down the street, we like it all about the audience, and this is what's going to happen. No, you want it to be about the story. And as a reader, we are always looking for, how is that character? How is that subplot? How is that dialogue? How is that subtext? How is all of it supporting that story? And if for some reason it's not, a piece of that is not supporting the story, it's not authentic. It becomes inauthentic and it doesn't ring true. And so your job as the reader is to figure out where are the pieces not fitting the story. And that's how a writer can develop their voice, is by getting all of those pieces together to have one forward moving motion. And so if you find that the screenplay doesn't have that, you can put that in your comments, that this is what needs to happen in order for the screenplay to really push forward and get through it. So then you need to think about the slicing it up. Like when you're slicing up a screenplay for your Thanksgiving dinner, what are all the pieces to it? What are the pieces that you can savor? If you like the white meat or the dark meat or the potatoes or the sides or the dessert and the pie and all the things that go with your Thanksgiving dinner, like slicing every little bit of this script up so that you can savor a piece of it. So even if the script is a turkey and you're feeling like you just aren't resonating with it, you can still find, there's the sides in there. You can find that piece, which leads me to the hidden gem, which is in our opinion, and this is something that we've labeled the hidden gem, but it's not like you won't find this in a screenplay book, I don't think, but it's basically every story, every screenplay. I've never read a screenplay that doesn't have something of merit. There's always something, and that's the hidden gem. And sometimes the screenplay can be a mess. The dialogue can be terrible, and that there's no structure to it, but there's this one little scene or this one character, there's something. There's always something, because the writer is a creative person. So if they've managed to write an entire screenplay, they are a creative person. There's going to be some form of creativity in there. Often with young writers or with screenplays that don't work very well. And when I say this, like, I've read thousands and thousands of screenplays, right? So everybody says, oh, you must read a lot of bad screenplays. No, I really don't. There's maybe, I would say, in the bottom 5%, there's of screenplays that are just really what they are is someone who loves movies typically, and they're rehashing a movie that they love and calling it something else, which can work if the writer then puts their own voice to it. But when they just sort of retell a story, and usually that 5% are just people who don't know yet. They just don't know. They don't know the rules. They haven't studied. They just don't know. It's like, a terrible driver that's been driving for half an hour. It's like they just don't know how to maneuver through it yet. And so that's typically what those 5%. And then there's 5% that are like head spinning amazing. Everything else is in the middle of that. And that's, almost everything other than like 90% of screenplays have things that are great and things that need work. And so even in those ones that are really, really new and they just don't know what they're doing, it's like the gem of the fact that they did it at all is one thing, because so many people have screenplay ideas and they're going to write a screenplay and they don't actually ever finish one. And so that idea that they don't actually even get it finished is huge. So if they have a screenplay that they finished, like, that is huge in and of itself. And so then it's finding out what inspired them to write that screenplay. What is the thing that makes them want to write a screenplay? Why did it end up in your hands? What was their story in getting it there? Is it a contest? Like, what's going on there? If they have taken the time and spent the money on software programs, maybe sometimes that's one of the problems. They haven't done that. They're trying to piece it together. But if it got in your hands, something happened to get it there. And so it had to motivate them in some way. And it's tapping into that thing for a writer. What is motivating them to actually write that screenplay? And when you get to that, then that's when you can unlock so many great things. And I've seen it, and we have our finished program, and I've seen writers come in there that have never written anything, and they write their first draft, and it's very usually, the first draft of a writer that's just really starting out often can be very, they're telling the story from way out here. So it's very kind of disassociated. And what we do in our programs is we help you pull people into the story. And then I've seen rewrites that are astounding. It kind of blows my mind. I didn't even realize how well it would work until we started doing it, and how much by helping people see the gem and own it and like have fun with it, so something unlocks. And it's been pretty universal in that when someone starts to go, oh, this is my gem of a thing. Oh, okay. And suddenly it like unlocks something in their creativity, and they just start running with it. And it's like, gives me the chills. It is the most amazing thing ever to witness. And it's one of the great pleasures of being a reader and being someone who coaches writers. So if there are problems with it, it's just about finding that hidden gem and helping them unlock it, helping them see, look, you've got this little kernel of something in this. This is what's unique about this. This is you, where you can kind of get this glimpse. You kind of see the writer a little bit, double, tripled, quadrupled down on that, and like really like, make it happen. And so that's your job as the reader. And that's like discovering the wishbone in the turkey is the hidden gem. You want to dig in there, find that hidden gem, find that wishbone, and just like make it happen. And that's your job as a reader. That's your job. Some of the people that are going through our courses are also writing coaches. Like, this is what we are really trying to get across. So as you look at that, we are also doing the script to screen program right now that really kind of covers some of the common mistakes that writers make, some of the ways that their screenplay can get stuck on its way to the screen. So if you want to join us for those, that is at Hollywood Gatekeepers. Let's see if I have a banner for that. That is at hollywoodgatekeepers.net/script to screen. And you can join us there. There we are. So if you, yes, so if you join us there, Script to Screen, we have some sessions that we're doing for the next couple of weeks on and off. So we're just testing this out. Join us for Script to Screen, and we talk all about how to get your script to the screen. Our next one is on a week from yesterday. December 1st, because we're going to take the weekend off and have a beautiful, beautiful holiday. This is my favorite holiday. I absolutely love Thanksgiving. We are so grateful for each and every one of you that attends our programs, joins our courses, just comes to these live trainings. It's in our Facebook group. This is so much fun. So we hope if you are able to spend any time listening and watching this kind of content, life is beautiful, and we're able to focus on screenplays, and how cool is that? So have a beautiful, beautiful week. We will see you back. Same bat channel next week if we don't see you in Script to Screen on Tuesday. All right, we'll see you then. Have a beautiful weekend. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll talk to you soon.